on the cloud.
Actually, yes, I was.
What's that, Xavier?
Actually, was waiting for Stacy to say record.
Thank you, Xavier. You knew I was going to do it, right? You had confidence. You had faith in me.
Yes.
Right now, I just have to.
I appreciate it.
I just have to keep my eye on the rest of the scene to make sure other guys aren't joining.
Also, the painting looks like he did it all by accident.
I love that idea. I love that idea. What if I could fit? Do you think I could fit the bullfighter on there? No, I can't this time. Well, I'll zoom out. Okay, can I name some of these things? And it'll be kind of simple. But this is going to be the body. And he's got two legs, two arms in the front, two legs in the back, a big tail. Now, there's these chunks that hang off. And I don't think those are they may be some padding. I don't know. Maybe it's the thickness of the leg.
They part of that is material to protect the horse.
Right, I do. I know that. I'm just wondering if they had that, if that was traditional at this time, or if whether the horse was like laid bare. I don't know. But you've got the guy's pelvis that's sitting on the horse, and then from his waist to his shoulders, which is like a nice rectangle. There's a little pie shape for the front of his face going up the jawline, and then you have the angle of the hair, which is amazing. So like, you know, there's this little, do you see the triangle that's taken out of the back? You know, it's just empty space. Like it's just, it's connected by one little dot, which is fascinating. And then the neck seems like long and normal, but then the head seems really small to me. I don't know. We've got two horns. We've got a long nose leading into, the front of the nose leading into the chin, I assume. Neck, shoulders, and then there's a squiggle for the body, a pelvis, and then two legs and a tail. Woo! 2 arms, 2 legs. All right, I'm going to go, I think I'm going to do, remember we talked about that method called shadow drawing, right? Wasn't it called shadow drawing? Where you just start shading immediately. So this is the body of the horse.
Excuse me, Trevor, can you move the whole paper over to your right a little bit?
Like that?
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, if I zoom out a little bit, I think we'll be able to get the bullfighter. The bullfighter's tall and lean. Look at him.
Yeah.
So I might just like crop off his legs a little bit and then I'll come back in. All right, here's the body. And I got this like almost like a shark fin shape for the front leg. Front leg. Some indication of a joint at the bottom. I don't know if it's like, I'm actually putting in the hoof just for my own peace of mind. He doesn't. So there's a beautiful S curve in that brushstroke. And then the rib cage seems lower and it gets higher as it comes to the waist. And then there's a flat bottom. Whoa. So this whole thing looks like a bullet shape to me. From all the way up at the back, all the way down that like the cape. I don't know if it's a cape or whether it's that protective stuff that Stacy was talking about. And then we'll just do these straight lines. I guess they got a gentle curve to it. It's just so interesting to kind of, a lot of times when you're drawing a leg, you have to think about a leg and more than you think about what the brush stroke or the paint or the pencil stroke does. Here, we're actually not really thinking about legs. I'm actually thinking about more about what the ink stroke looks like. Almost like an abstract. Like, I think what Xavier was kind of like alluding to is like it looks like it's done by accident. It's just like there's like a freeness and almost like a haphazardness to like flinging down ink marks. And it's true. I mean, he was super fast and super aggressive with these ink strokes, but the beauty of it is that he still was able, in order to make the mark look like the object, you have to have the nature of that object, in your mind. And so even like this, he took, I'm imagining like a bigger brush, putting in this tail back here, and it just like almost got away from him. There was just like too much ink, and it like, you can see how it like bled out into the outside. Ooh, that's kind of interesting too, like that. Both fights is like, if you eat hamburgers, these guys were like, they ate the bowl, so it's not like they got their burgers, but I mean, it is a killing, you know what I mean? It is like, it's a sport, but it's also a sport where the bull dies in the end. And so it's bloody, which is kind of, I've never considered like the runniness and the inkiness and the fluidity of a ink brush, making kind of a connection with, a bloody sport. Like I haven't considered that. So the as I come up to see the waist, I kind of put the waist near the shoulders of the horse. And for some reason I went for the easy shape of the rectangle of his torso, pie shape for the face, brim of the hat, and then a little top of the hat. Barely even fits on. I had to make my figure a little smaller just so it fit on the screen. There's the arc of the neck, and it's a crisp edge along the top, and then it looks like he tried to make it a wider stroke at the bottom and then pulled it up towards the head, and the head is a separate stroke. So you see like the head of the horse, which is different from the neck of the horse. And there's a little dot. Do you see that little dot? I think he was trying to indicate the ear.
Love that.
It could have just dripped off the pen. I mean, that's like a real thing.
Yeah, I love that.
He also made the spear that the picador, he made that in 2 strokes. If he made it in 1 stroke, it would have connected through. So up above, there's it's up in the armpit, and then below it's lower. So you can almost imagine the spear changing positions, starting higher and getting lower, to attack the bull. Well, actually get the bull as the bull attacks the horse. That's the whole point of it, is that you get the bull to attack the horse, and the rider, spears the horse, slows him down, spears the bull and slows him down. So there's like no ground plane. Let me drop this down a little bit. There's no shadows on the ground. There's very little contact. I'm wondering if there was like, if you wouldn't see the feet or the hooves because they were covered with like some dust from the from inside the ring. It's dirt. Anyway, it's kind of an interesting thing. But like a lot of times, when we draw, or I teach drawing, I'm very much indicating, I'm like, yeah, make him not look like he's floating. And for some, because the ring is this large expanse, it's this big open cylinder. Because of their orientation, the fact that he's lower, these guys, you can tell they're on the same plane because they're parallel with one another. So when we draw, you want to use your imagination to draw this imaginary line from the horse's feet over to the bull's feet, and they're in a standoff here, and the matador is over here getting ready to do his work. And like I said, it was it was courage on a level that I don't think I've seen in real life, in person. And I think that's largely the appeal of bullfighting, is to see human courage on display. Okay, so if I run these horizontals, the horns of the bull look like they're lined up roughly with where the legs meet the body, and maybe a little bit below. So my legs meet the body here, and I'm just going to come across, and I can get my horns oriented. And then I can do my imaginary line from the legs. It looks like my legs. Did I make my legs too short? Oh my gosh, it looks like I might have made my legs too short, because if I pull this over, I got to make sure that the bull fits on there. I'm just going to put a little dot Hopefully that helps. I'm using a round circle for the back of the head. And whatever shapes you guys see, it all gets blended together anyway. So, but you still want to use them. I mean, you still want to use the concepts of shapes. They're really helpful. And like I said, I mean, the way I teach is just me verbalizing what goes on in my head. If I were drawing this, by myself. I mean, if I was just sitting here, I would be drawing this anyway. So I'm seeing a circle for the back of the head. I'm seeing a broad, kind of rectangle for the nose. And then another kind of like, I could call it a triangle, bullet shape for that chin. And it angles up into the neck. Seeing a trapezoid for the neck, meaning it's wider in the back and it gets narrower in at the head, where the neck meets the head. There's also this little bump on the forehead, which I think is there to kind of like suggest the eye. This is Picasso. He's just a master of subtlety, and he was so good at drawing. He could draw so fast. He could think so clearly. And his nature was that of a fighter. You know what I mean? Like that's why he loves the bullfighter, because he was a bullfighter. He was like an artistic fighter, and he would, go hard, and he would take a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to attempt to draw, this entire scene, with, in 4 minutes or less with, 2 or 3 brushes. Anyway, I'm not saying that we have to do that now, but eventually you all should be at that level. Artistic training really, Picasso was lucky because his dad was an art teacher, so he got this training young, and you guys are getting your artistic training relatively young, and on top of it, they kind of stopped teaching this way, as when Picasso was an adult. So he was kind of the last. He was like the last of like the kind of the classically trained artists, and when the 20th century happened, there was just so much turmoil, in the West, with various wars and all kinds of, disease. I mean, it was a wild time, the 20th century, and artistic training took a serious blow. So we're kind of reclaiming our artistic identities here in the 21st century, and it's going pretty well, I have to admit. Okay, so I've got this wild, I'm not even making it out, but I know that there's a rib cage. There's this like crazy thick, bullish, massive rib cage. I mean, I know the bulls are huge. And then he's got this big pelvis back here. And I'm thinking pelvis, but I'm also trying to copy the brushstroke. So I can imagine that the pelvis comes up here, the butt cheeks come out there, the big thighs come there, and then the, these little sticks or rectangles for the legs are coming out of that body, and they're relatively scrawny legs. And then there's a difference between the horse's tail and the bull's tail, and that is not a subtle distinction. Dang, that's cool. So good. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Hopefully, if you come over here, this is the Matador who's on deck. On deck, I don't know if you guys play baseball, but if you're on deck, you're the next batter to go up. So if there's one out and you're on deck, you're guaranteed to hit. It looks like, who knows where we are. There's probably people that understand the fights better, but I would imagine that the picador is pretty close to finishing his work, because the Matador is on the infield, and you can kind of tell because of his hat. All right, so I'm going to zoom out so we can see that standing figure, and I just have to move my picture down.
This is mine so far.
Let's see it, dude.
Let's take a peek.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Jack, scoot your hand down a little bit. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah.
Very nice.
The other thing you should know too is when you go, if you ever go to Madrid and see the fights, you want to get tickets in the shade, and the cheap seats are in the sun. It's baking hot. The expensive seats are in the shade, and it looks as though because of Picasso's in the cheap seats, and the sun is shining on them from behind, which allows us to get these silhouette lines and essentially no details. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing.
The other thing, I mean,
So, let me pull this out. And the last thing that you see is this is the edge of the ring along the bottom, and these are some spaced out spectators. So we have this guy standing right on the edge. I don't know if he might be one of the Matadors that's gonna fight a later fight, because they all come out at once. I think they sit on the side. So these might be the other fighters. That's interesting. Okay, so you can see how small my drawing is, but there's nothing I can do if you guys want to see everything. So I'll just put my guy in here.
whoops.
All right, for the standing figure, I'm going to draw the torso first. It looks like he's leaning forward. So there's this beautiful shape, and I think this is the arm. And the arm from shoulder to elbow is exposed. It's not even the torso. This is his torso. It's not even showing up here. I'm going to put this pencil. Should I do it? No. Yes? No. I'm going to do it for our sake. I'm just going to put a thin pencil line back here, which I think represents his back that's in the light. Anyway, the dark note, this black note here is his left arm. And that left arm is underneath the cape that he's going to use to draw attention away from his body. So the cape draws the bull to attack it, and then he moves his body away from the horns. It's a beautiful mark for the collar, and then the silhouetted edge of the face, and then so that's the arc here is the collar right here. Then you get looks like a little bit of the cheekbone going into the eye socket, and then the hat's on top. And then it's all one mass. The cape looks big and trapezoidal. The arm looks like it has a little bit of like you'd see like a little bit where the hand ends and where the mass of this cape comes out. There should be a sword in there somewhere. And then he gets the rear end, his glutes, and then into the hamstrings, and then down from then you hit the knee, and then you go down, and he's like very long and lean. And there's all these descriptions. If you read, oh, I'm sorry, it didn't fit on there. There's a great book that Ernest Hemingway wrote called Death in the Afternoon, which we won't read until like high school or whatever. But it's a beautiful account, and he talks about all the different statures and temperaments and the nature of these bullfighters, and they're real characters, but real just very courageous. Like I can't emphasize that enough, like how dangerous and just intensely beautiful the sport is.
The other thing,
Granted, be it cruel and a little inhumane.
I think it's Hemingway who also describes the bullfight as a ballet, as an actual dance. And I think that the representation by Picasso of the bullfighter is very dance-like. I don't know how else to really.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could. Yeah, it is a dance. A dance with death. These characters here, I don't know if there's just a simplicity of the head to the the top of the head to the bottom of the head and the brim coming through. It looks almost like Saturn. And then the hat next to him looks like is that like a stop sign? No, not even. Hexagon. Yeah, 6 sides. And those two heads next to one another are just like, it's like this theme and variation. And it's just it really is quite beautiful. And I think that I think if we get into the shoulders, there's like a swelling and then another swelling. That's like the shape of these shoulders, and then this shoulder dips down a little bit. Yeah, I didn't, trust me, boys, I did not mean to go this deep into this piece, but I mean, everyone's drawing seems like it's going really well, and my drawing's going well, so I'm not gonna fight it. And when we did the silhouette, the quote unquote shadow drawings, they were from a drawing manual, just like real art from a real master that only from he died like 70 years ago. Like he's relatively modern. I mean, he's actually a modern artist, but he's almost contemporary.
And I really like how he draws the bullfighters' feet and legs like the horses.
Good point, Stace.
Oh, thank you.
This is my finished piece.
That's awesome, Jack.
Oh, Jack, hold that nice and still. Very nice. Very
Thank
nice.
you.
You're welcome.
So I don't know I don't even know if it's possible to fit the whole fit it on here, but at least this half of the picture. If you wanted to expand on it, you have the I'll try not to cover up the bowl. But you do have you have the edge of the page. So you've got the front of the ring that goes past these spectators, and then it wraps around to the other side. And the other side is so that the characters are so far away. If this guy's head is this big, these people's heads are going to be like that big. So the dots on the other side are total abstract expressions of people on the other side of the ring. And that could be a fun opportunity if you wanted to even draw more detailed people. The size of his brush doesn't look like allowed for it because of how far away they are in the scene.
So do you know how long, or really how short of a period of time it took him to do this piece?
No, I don't. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, he probably did it within 5 minutes.
Wow. Oh,
I mean, look at what time it is. It's 4:30. We've been spending 25 minutes. I feel like Picasso with a brush, knowing what he's doing, would be able to do it 5 times faster. I mean, I wouldn't surprise me if he did it in 1 minute. That being said, it's not that he didn't plan it out and do 4 or 5 different versions. And that's actually a good point. This was done in 1960? Is that possible? I didn't know he lived in 1960. Ooh, don't look at that one. Yeah, this looks like I'm gonna have to read this one. That's a great bowl.
wow. That's such an action shot.
Yeah, so boys, this is the Matador, and he's doing the swinging motion of the cape. I wonder who this is here. That's quite an ominous figure.
It really is. So the other thing that I found interesting, boys, if you've ever heard like people say, ole, ole, ole.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was really odd when I saw the bullfights that they don't say that. They say ole. The accent is on the first part, not the second part, like Americans say. So I just got a little chuckle out of that.
It's a good one. That's nice.
Trevor, may I see your picture again?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can move it a little to your right. Yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, Charlie, can we see what you got before we start another one? Xavier, can we take a look at yours too before we start the another attempt? Yeah.
Charlie.
And
Oh
yeah,
gosh, that's my nose. Look at my nose. I've never seen my nose from this angle.
Charlie, do you know what I did?
Oh, that's a great drawing, dude.
Charlie, I did line work just like you did.
Stacy, can we see yours, please?
Sure. So I didn't finish, but this is what I'm referring to, Charlie, the line work here.
Stace, that's really nice. It needs a bowl.
I have that on another, I have it on another page because I ran out of room on the one page. Thank you. Xavier,
Xavier,
would you like
can we see yours
to
before we
show?
mine's
Boy
not,
Tucker. Good boy, Tuck.
mine's not really finished yet.
I mean, we went kind of fast, but yes. Yeah, it looks like it looks pretty far along to me.
Yeah, so nice.
Sweet. Okay, should I go back for a couple minutes? Let me just go back for a minute or two. And so you guys can have time to finish it. I've got this coffee, I'm drawing really fast. And then if you look up here, oh my gosh, don't fall. Oh man, I almost lost my whole iPad. Okay. This is the whole thing. Let's get this out.
That is really incredible.
Yeah, so it's like a 2-page spread. With the bowl is in the middle of the actual design. Now there's no way that we could kind of draw this like that, but it's a nice rectangle. It's a really, these long horizontal rectangles are just really pretty.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I really like all the hats and the direction that the brims follow. Like the two, either spectators or whomever they are side by side closest to us, the brim of that hat follows the line of the arena.
That's cool. I had not noticed that either.
Just think that is kind of cool.
Speaking of, no, Stace does amazing. Like speaking of, you know, coincidences, and that's what you call a coincidence. Is when two things or do the same thing. And another really powerful one is the angle of the brim of the hat versus the angle of the spear.
Yes.
That's a big one. And then that spear leading right between the eyes of that bull. And that's not where he's gonna get him, but that is that the spear angling directly at the horse and rider, and then the spear angling right at the bull. Yeah. And this guy over here, if I slide it over a little bit, there's nothing indicating like his face at all. He still feels like he's looking this way. I guess this is like the hair that's in the back, that goes behind the ear. Like if I were to draw an ear right there, you could almost imply what that face looked like, which is kind of interesting too. Okay. Maybe we'll come back to that bowl as a reward at the end. But this next one, I think, is going to be fantastic. It's it's kind of funny, and it's going to be a little what's the word? It's just going to be kind of funny.
Will it intimidate me?
I don't think so. I mean, it's going to be a lot of content, but it's not going to be bad. I mean, I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be kind of easy.
Now, this is not Picasso, or this is Picasso.
This is Picasso. Yeah, this is totally Picasso.
Really? Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, that's what I mean. It's like, it's kind of laid back, you know, like you don't, it's like a cartoon. I mean, it's a cartoon. So if you guys just stick with me for 2 seconds as we sketch this, we're going to go from head to toe. It's not going to be bad. It's going to be like basically a decorating exercise. And I'll show you what I mean. So when we, as we draw this, I want you to think about parts of a cake, and then we're going to decorate the cake. So we basically have to take the different pieces of the cake, put it all together, and then you guys can decorate it freely. Okay, so we're going to start with the hat, first of all. Is everybody ready to go? Are you guys like into this?
Sure.
Yeah, grab a fresh sheet. You know, hopefully you guys took screenshots of the other one if you needed, but we're going to start with the horizontal line. That's it. Just a horizontal. And then in the middle of that, we're going to find the top of the hat. And that is very similar to the hat that we, you know, kind of just drew. Before we do the bottom bowl of the, it's not really a sombrero, but it's like it's a Matadors hat. We got to find where the head goes into the hat, and we're going to see some bangs. And then, I promise you, boys, the hardest part of the drawing we're about to do, and it's not even hard. So from the bangs, you come down the forehead, and then you angle in a little bit right before you get to the nose. That's like where the unibrow is. It's technically the keystone. So forehead angles in, then you get the long part of the nose. All it is an L shape, okay? Just an L shape. Then you go from that nose to the upper lip, and then you can put a little dot. And this guy looks like he's smiling. Then you put a little dot below that for the lower lip. And then just like on your own face, look at it. Your lower lip sticks out, it goes into the chin, and then the chin is round. So it goes into the chin, get a rounded chin, and then into the neck.
Well, yours looks quite handsome. I don't think that,
I mean,
you know, excuse me, Picasso.
Every drawing's a self-portrait. If it's handsome, I can't help putting my own characteristics into the drawing.
Oh, says the oh humble one.
Speaking of which, okay, so so we had the hat, which was the horizontal, and then we did the, you know, the arc of the top of the hat, and we had to find those bangs, and this is where the head enters into the hat. So now that we did that, we can do the bottom bowl shape of this hat. The human doesn't look like a human until you get the eyes. So do a dot for the eyes, upper eyelid, lower eyelid, eyebrows. Just a little cartoon. This guy's hilarious. He's got this long rectangle of sideburns. And then I don't see it in there, but you know his ears got to be back here.
What was that?
This is where and he's a matador, so I guess they have like ponytails. Is that the deal?
Yeah.
So there's this little ponytail in the back. Booyah. So I'm using my little the shadow drawings to get the hair. Now, don't do any of the decoration on the face. The face is all over the place. I mean, look at all the squiggles everywhere. There's little spirals, there's little twists. We're not decorating the cake yet. We're just drawing it to get the parts. And from here on out, it's like super simple. So we're gonna get the collar, do a rectangle, angled rectangle for the collar. You could draw the torso, but I don't think we should do the torso first. I think we should do the sleeve. They have this like really powerful square sleeve over the shoulder. So like this shoulder cover. It's almost like a shoulder pad. And he's got his hands on his hips, and it's kind of awkwardly positioned, but the arm comes forward to the elbow and then it goes elbow to wrist. So it looks like it's kind of backwards, but it's not. He's just angling his wrist forward. He's angling his elbow forward. Xavier, did you get bumped, boss? Can you hear me?
Yeah. So what happened is that my computer died, and yeah, my computer died.
So
basically.
where did we stop?
Um,
What was the last thing you heard?
we were still in the pool.
Oh, no way.
Oh,
Okay. Well, I think everybody could use a refresher on this one anyway. All right, so do you have a fresh sheet of paper? Okay. So I'm gonna do this. It didn't take very long. So and gentlemen, if you want to continue on, all you do is get the front of the torso where where like the zipper is, and then you get his back, which is his scapula down into his waist, and then you get an enclosure for his pelvis, which is just a circle, and then you get the legs coming down the side. His wrist is a rectangle leading to the left, wrist elbow to wrist, and then he's got the cuff. His like hand looks like Mickey Mouse, and then that's the spear. And all the rest is like decorating background with squiggles. So Xavier, what you need is a straight line going sideways. That's going to be the brim of the hat. So this horizontal line that goes there, that's like the first thing you got to get. And then once we get that, then we can put the crown of the hat, the top of the hat here, just a semicircle. And then I want to draw the bowl of the hat, but before I do that, I'm trying to get where the head enters into it. So I'm drawing, there's a little black triangle for his hair. So I got that. Charlie, how about you? Where did you get bumped off?
Oh, I just got bumped off. I just came back. I'm
Okay,
around you.
Okay, you're pretty good. And then Xavier, this is the profile of the face is the same, like no matter what. You usually get the forehead coming down from the bangs, and then it angles in, forehead angles in at the eyebrow, and then you get the long length of the nose. And that nose makes an L shape, which is delightful. And then we get the nose to the upper lip. And Picasso's using a pen here, and he's being very decorative about it. I see a bull back here. Do you see that? That is
Yeah.
a bull.
charging.
Charging a man with a cape. So it must be a painting that's on the wall. Or it could be going on in the ring, and this guy's outside the ring talking to some girl.
Well, they always have several just outside of the ring in the event that
I think this
they're
is a
needed.
picador. Yeah, I think this is a picador.
Yeah.
Okay, so then there's this two dots, one for the middle of the upper lip, one for the lower lip. And in between those two dots, you can give like a little corner of the mouth, like he's smiling. It almost looks like lipstick. It looks like the dude's wearing lipstick.
May you please
Yeah.
move your hand, your left hand?
Oh yeah, sorry, bro. I will
you.
zoom out a little bit more even so you can see there is a little bit more of his leg showing. Not much, but a little bit. So Xavier, the way I was describing this was that we're going to draw all the parts of the cake, and then we're going to decorate the cake. And decorating the cake means like all these squiggles, these little spirals, these little swooshes, you know, just like kind of shading it in, because these costumes are like really ornate, and they've got lots of embroidery and lots of like shiny, like golden threads and stuff. And it's just like, it's like kind of an overwhelming costume almost. And so he's trying to describe through mark making like the intensity of this outfit. I mean, it's just like they're so over the top. Okay, so back to these lips. The lips, you get a little from the lip to the chin, and then this guy's got kind of a weak chin actually, so I'm going to give him more of a weak chin. And that leads into the collar, which is a rectangle. So we went from the forehead down through the nose, which is an L shape, then into those lips, which are kind of funny. And then from the lips down into the chin, and that chin into the neck, which is, and which you don't really see much of the neck. It's mostly the collar. And then as far as the anatomy of the human's head, we really do kind of want to get this thing looking like a person. So at that angle in, we know that's where the brow is. And then you can do the upper eyelid and then the eye seen from the side, which really is just like, it's practically like a piece of pizza. I mean, like when I say piece of pizza, I mean like upper eyelid, lower eyelid, and then the curve of the crust. And if you just like fill in the crust, there's your eye. You give that an eyebrow. There you go. You're welcome. You can draw a profile eye for the rest of your life. He makes the upper eyelid here a little bit darker because it probably includes the fold that's above it. All right, so he's got this distance to the ear, and you kind of go, I mean, this is a cartoon sketch, so he's thinner than he is natural. But even still, I'm going to put in this rectangle of the sideburns, and then we'll put the ear behind that because that's how it should be. And then the sideburns lead into the hair that's on the side of the head, and then the hair that goes into the back of the head. And then his hair, because he's a fighter, and I think it was a common trend among bullfighters, is that they have a ponytail. So I'll do this ponytail back here. And then from the ponytail, it goes into the collar again.
And bullfighters are very highly regarded.
Yeah, because they're the bravest human beings in the world. I mean, except for soldiers, that go that there's you don't, but it's not even a like war. It's not necessarily a public display of courage, and they're also handsomely rewarded too. I mean, they get paid. I mean, when I saw this fight, I mean, I saw this guy. I mean, he went down, and the bull was like trying to impale this guy on the ground, and it was like the grace of God that he did not get stuck with the horn. And then he got back up and he fought the bull. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Okay, Xavier, just to catch you guys up, there's to the outfit, there's almost nothing to the outfit. Meaning there's a shoulder pad. There's no human anatomy really. There's this shoulder pad, which is like a rectangle. There's the elbow, the shoulder comes to the elbow, and he's like got his hands on his hip down here. So he's kicking this elbow forward, sort of awkwardly, actually.
Yeah, it reads so awkwardly.
Yeah, but I think he's like standing. I think like if you kick your elbow forward, it makes you stand your shoulder, it kicks your shoulders back, and he's standing upright. He's stiff like the spear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the other scene that's next to this is he's talking to a lady, like he's trying to like he's talking to some girl to impress her. And you can't really see it here, but there is a person here. Compared to the other drawings, it's got to be a woman. So whatever. I think it's a pose of a man showing off. Is where the awkwardness of I am a courageous man. Look at me, and he is, and he shows off, and it's about a display, and that's what this outfit is about too. Okay, so this is as far as I got in the last one. So if you follow the chest down, this is like where you get your zipper up your sweatshirt. If you follow the lines in the back, this is the the back of your jacket. And it's a high-waisted jacket because you need to have mobility and you don't want any of your materials to get caught on it. So there's this little gap in between the jacket and the pants. And the pants are super tight. Again, nothing getting caught on it. And then he's got the enclosure for the pelvis in the front and then the hips in the back. So this is the enclosure. I'm kind of overdoing it, but I want you to see how Picasso's thinking so that so I'm being more obvious. So, and then he's being more subtle. So you can be subtle too, but you have the round pelvis, you have the rectangle of the waistband, then you get the almost like a really narrow transition from the waist into the thighs. The dude's got strong legs, and so the pelvis enters into the thighs, and then that's it. They're not really thighs; they're really just it's an outfit. I mean, it's clothes. So you've got the left leg, which is facing us, and then you see the back of the right leg, and you can adjust those silhouettes. So now the fun comes in. I think this is where Picasso did, in fact, have a lot of fun. No, there's more parts here. Look at this. He's got his wrist. I'm going to make my wrist shorter so that I can fit the hand on my paper. Finger. I was saying to the guys before, this spear is beautiful, but the hand looks like it's gloved. It looks like Mickey Mouse.
Yes.
Mickey Mouse's hand looks like a thumb. 1, 2, 3. If Mickey Mouse was holding onto a spear, it wouldn't look that different. Okay, so cool. I got that. So now you just want to go each, kind of go around each part, and you can even do the background too if you wanted. Whoa, is my pencil done? Nah, still got some life left. We got the spear down here. Spear going to the top. I'm going to drop my spear so you guys can't even see it. But I got plenty of real estate. So you can decorate the background. You can decorate his jacket. And you decorate it with light lines, thin lines, and dark lines. I think that's and then maybe dark lines. I'm looking at like this light squiggle in the shoulder pad, and then there's some like dark heavy squiggles, but they're thin. So there's like kind of a wider, thinner S curve, and then some black squiggles, and then some like super dark ones along the trim. We can get the whole arm. This got a really nice dark silhouette. There's a little thumb on this side.
Yeah. See, yours reads easier for a couple of reasons, I believe. One, you don't have, well, let me back up. Picasso has many different marks going in very different directions in his outfit and also the background. So it's very...
Well, that's why I wanted to explain. That's why I wanted to explain all the parts of the pie first. That's where the teacher, that's why having a teacher to do this is good. Because then after you know the parts of you can now make it as busy and as confusing as you want.
Right.
I'm using all of these squiggles. I mean, that's my goal, is to make this thing busy. And there's like squiggles everywhere. There's squiggles in the face.
Yeah.
Squiggles down the nose. There's a little strap that goes to the hat, which is hilarious. A little indication of the jawline. I don't know. There's the ear is a little bit darker. There's this background squiggle behind him. There's a lot of artistic. I mean, I would follow his lead. You know what I mean? He's got some like dark stripes coming down this side. There's a long dark stripe running down the length of his arm. And I may have to go back in and reinforce that line, just because he's using like a thicker brush to get the effect.
Yeah.
I have a thin pencil. So if I want a thicker mark, I have to go over it 2 or 3 times. Which is fine. I mean, we're not working quite as fast as he is, but you can anticipate working with pen and ink. And yeah, I think the point is to make this thing busy.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, mine did read better, but I'm actually going in and intentionally making it read worse. Not read worse, it's just like almost being more overwhelming to the viewer, because that is what the costume is supposed to do. The costume is supposed to be impressive. It's supposed to dazzle you. It's supposed to put these guys into another category.
Well, speaking of,
that is symbolic and also honest about the activity that they do and the level of honor that they do need, that they should command because of what they have chosen, their chosen profession.
do you know,
Yeah, I'm
I
listening.
have a little bolero jacket that looks so much like that. It's a little scary.
Well, when we have our I just put that bowl in there. I'm so happy. When we have our little end of the year art show, Stace, now that they've lifted the mask mandate, and I think the adult class, would feel comfortable coming out of their houses now.
Yes.
I think you should wear it.
And Stephanie sent me a message that she's really looking forward to getting back to painting in the studio.
I think she registered.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so he used these ink washes to get a tone. I'm looking at like the front of the torso. I'm looking at the front of the arm. Look at the front of the hips down into the thighs, and I'm just like shading it in. The pole, the spear, I should say. There's some dark textures on there, yes, but there's also some, long thin lines. Guys, I know it's getting close to the end of class. I hope you enjoyed this. I
loved it.
There's a nostril. I forgot about the nostril. Yeah, so I'm not trying to make any, people feel very differently about bullfighting. And people feel very differently about Picasso for that matter. But there's a rich tradition to the sport, whether you agree with it or not. And Picasso was a hugely talented, artist of the 20th century that is, still cannot be denied. So it's worth studying his pictures. And just in how liberating they can be. Nice.
This is mine.
Charlie, yeah, or Jack rather.
Let's take a peek, Jack. Oh, Jack.
Cool.
Hold that the tiniest bit toward you. Just a hair. Yep. Wow.
So I don't know what the title of this piece is. I'm gonna try and find out.
Very nice, Jack.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Man, I gotta look up this book. I think this book might be really expensive or really valuable, I should say.
Charles or Xavier would love to see your work. Okay.
Mine isn't that good.
Put that down just a little bit, Charles. A little bit more. And whoops. There we go. Nice. This is great. Xavier,
Mine isn't that
let's take a look at that.
good.
Oh. Hold that a little bit closer to you. Oh, yeah, you got to move a little bit. All right, hold it nice and still. Oh,
No, man, that's awesome.
closer,
I like
closer.
it.
Hold that really still. Very well done. I like how you made your mark making for that ponytail. You just wrapped it.
And Xavier, his head is big, but it works. You know what I mean? Like it works with the whole figure. I wouldn't feel bad about that at all. I love that drawing. And we worked so fast. And that's the whole point. I was wanting to draw faster, and that's how he worked. That's how Picasso worked. And it's a really fun skill to practice. So, all right.
This was really wonderful for me.
Charlie, can I see your final one? Do you mind? If you're still there. Ooh, yeah.
Yes. And I like the
Well, take a screenshot of this, guys, and then you can finish it. It'll take you 10 minutes to finish it. Like if you do the whole background and everything, like fill out the whole rectangle, it's worth it. All right. That's good.
This time just flew by.
I know these hour-long classes,
Wow.
especially with Picasso, they go fast.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all you and the Gilman guys, and actually Xavier too. Tell your friends like we are starting back up. I sent an email out to like the rest of the crew, and now that you guys are back at school full time, we're just going to finish out the year. And I think this class runs all summer as well. We're going to switch to 3 o'clock in June. Anyway, there are more guys joining next week. I don't know how many, but we'll see when we get there.
We will welcome them.
All right, y'all. Stacy, thank you so much. You want to come to Zoom class tonight?
Yes, I would love to.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I will.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys. See you
Bye,
later.
guys. We'll see you next week.
Good work.
See you next week. Bye.
See you next week.
Are they cool, Stacy? We'll leave the share going.
Oh, good. Trevor, I got to tell you, I loved the
The first one?
first thing we did.
Yeah, no, I do too.
Let me show you. I really like it. Hold on.
That was awesome, dude. I think I just blew their minds.
That was amazing.